Madam Mayor, it's 6 o'clock and we are live.
Well, good evening, everyone. I'd like to call this Tuesday, August 25th, electric utility meeting to order and ask the clerk to call the roll, please.
Mayor Pam Triolo.
Here.
Vice Mayor Andy Amoroso.
Here.
Commissioner Scott Maxwell.
Here.
Commissioner Omari Hardy. I don't see Omari yet. Commissioner Herman Robinson.
Here.
Okay.
If everyone would please rise for the pledge led by
Vice Mayor Andy Amoroso.
Thank you.
I pledge of allegiance
to the flag
of the
United
States
of America,
and
and to the republic for which it stands,
stands
one nation, under God,
God,
indivisible,
justice.
with liberty and justice for all.
All right, thank you very much. We're going to move on to our
Madam Mayor, you're asking about the additions, deletions, and reordering at this time, and I do not have any.
Okay. Oh, here we go. All right. Do we have any public participation of non-agenda items?
Yes, Madam Mayor, I have one. Ramsey Merritt Stevens writes, Madam Mayor and Honorable Commissioners, I ask yet again for you to respond to our Electric Utility Advisory Board's request to discuss the potential for a demand response program, a community solar program, and opportunities to faster realize the economic potential of the Southeastern National Marine Renewable Energy Center. These issues deserve a fair hearing since they represent clear opportunities to help our community and planet in this historic time of need. We are fortunate to have an exceptionally competent utility administration. You do them, yourselves, and our entire community a disservice by not challenging them to explore these issues materially. Thank you for your service. Sincerely, Ramsey Stevens.
Anything else?
Not that I'm aware of, Madam Mayor.
Okay. Then we'll move on
Motion to approve minutes.
Do I have a second? Vice Mayor Pro Tem, was that you? Your microphone was off.
I'm sorry, Madam Mayor, so moved.
Okay, we've got a motion and a second. All those in favor state so by saying aye.
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 All those opposed? Motion carries by a vote of 4 with one person not here.
He's not here yet.
Okay, and we'll move on to new business. This is item A, resumption of city utility disconnects for non-payment.
Yes, Madam Mayor, Ed Liberty, Director of Electric Utilities, speaking on behalf of the utility with an update on where we're at. I'm going to use the magic here of the screen. I'm going to share the screen to get a PowerPoint presentation up, walk you through the PowerPoint, which will share with you some latest numbers on accounts in arrears, customers that have made efforts to get onto payment plans, outreach to agencies, and things like that. And then I'll answer questions along the way, or I can take them at the end. And then, of course, as a body, you can deliberate on where to go next.
Yeah,
I'll do the share.
I would prefer to do that, Ed. Why don't we go through the presentation and we'll ask questions at the end. Thank you.
All right, thank you, Mayor. I'll share the screen here. And
Ed, let me know if you need any help.
yeah, why is it not coming up on the screen here? Okay, where is the PowerPoint presentation that I had up here?
Ed, make sure you have it open on your computer. You need to have it open in the background in order to share it.
I thought I did, so let me try again. Okay, let me close out that. Let me try to bring it up again. Hold on a second. Sorry about this, everybody. Okay, here we go. From beginning. Okay, does everybody see the slide?
Yes, we do, Ed. Thank you.
Oh, okay, sorry for the delay.
No
Okay,
worries.
so this slide here is called Master Tracker Cuts. These are the numbers of customers that would have been subject to cut on that particular day. We track this daily. This was as of the 20th. We update these numbers on a daily basis. The delinquent account as of August 20th was $658,000. That's the amount that would be that would trip the customers into a disconnect status. But over to the right, you see the total amount that they owe us. So not all of the dollars that they owe us would have triggered the disconnect, only some of it, right? So at this point, we had 1,826 customers that were on the cut list. Obviously, nobody's been cut, or maybe not obviously, just reaffirm for folks that nobody has been cut, but that was the number. This report is what we refer to as the aging report. So this is a slightly different look. This takes a look at accounts that are at least 30 days late, between 30 to 60 days, and then accounts that are more than 60 days late. So you might ask the question, what about the accounts that are 25 days late? They're not on this report. And the answer is no, they're not on this report. We start this at 30 days and beyond. And why do we do that? It's because so many accounts are typically late up to 30 days that the number is almost maybe not as meaningful to take a look at. So we tend to look at it at 30 days and beyond. Not that we don't care if people are over by 1, 2, or 3 days. That of course can trigger consequences in terms of late fees. But we look at these on an aging report, 30 days and beyond. So what this tells you is the commercial balances, and this is combined water and electric unless it says otherwise. So the total residential, total commercial numbers at the top, and then we show the electric amounts and the split for water. So you see the split for electric and you see the split for water and sewer. So what you can see is that we're running about, on the electric side, about 13.7% in arrears. That's the number on the far right. And we're running about 14.8% in arrears for water and sewer, and for a total of about 13.9% in arrears. And of that 13.9, a little over 4% is at least 60 days in arrears. A little bit of an analysis on the detail behind the numbers. We've now broken this out. So you can see that these numbers don't seem to match up. This number was put together on the 14th, on August 14th. This is a very difficult number to put together because this is all manual. Frank Bolito, our customer service manager, actually has to go in and do this manually and put these numbers together. Our systems don't allow us to extract it easily. But as of the 14th, there were 1,705 accounts that were delinquent. And you see the split that 1,539 were residential and 166 were commercial. We indicate the payments that had been made and the amounts that were due, and then you see the average. So the average residential amount in arrears was $519. The minimum was $93, but the highest one is a $9,000 one on the residential side. Similarly, on commercial, you can see the average, the minimum, and the maximum. My understanding is that that residential account that's driving that big number is driven largely by water. That customer may have a rather significant water leak, but since we're not disconnecting, it's difficult to get after it. It becomes a little bit of an issue. And you can then see how much of the balance is past due. So the difference would be what would be subject to disconnect. And then you see deposits on hand to get a sense of how much of the amount that we are owed is covered by deposits. So we know that of the dollars that were owed, only 73% on the residential side is covered by deposits. On the commercial side, 94% of it is covered by deposits. And it's hidden by the bottom of the screen. You might be able to see it on yours, but some accounts, I think it's 27%, it's hidden in the bottom of mine. 27% of the residential accounts have 0 deposits, yet they owe us money. When we last met, we had informed you that we had not started the disconnects effective July 17 because we were giving customers yet one more try. We were making yet one more outreach to those customers to avoid a flood of disconnects and overwhelming the process of then customers trying to call in a hurry to get on payment plans. We discussed that we had started an outreach program. You as a body asked us to continue that. You indicated that you appreciated we had made an additional outreach, and you asked that we hold the disconnects in abeyance and continue with the outreach program. So we have now been able to reach every single one of those customers that was on the cut list as of July 17. Plus, we've continued to go beyond that. So we've made over 2,000 calls to customers after 20 workdays of doing this, reached 790 voicemails, actually had contact with 776 of those customers, and 266 set up payment plans, and 333 indicated they would make a partial payment. We did find 22 that had already signed up for payment plans. In addition to that, we went out and hung 1,798 door hangers, yet as another reminder to customers that the cuts were imminent, to get them to sign up for payment plans or make payment. As of the 20th, we had 828 customers had requested to go on payment plans, and they were in fact placed on payment plans. Of those, 38 were commercial customers who, of course, are on a 24-month payment plan, and 790 are residential customers. And you can see, or begin to put the numbers together, and said if we have 1,700 to 1,800 accounts that are on the cut list, yet only a little over 800 have signed up for payment plans, where are the others? And part of the answer to that is we're not sure where they are. The county, through the assistance program, has already provided us with $63,000 in payments on behalf of customers who they have reviewed applications from and have been deemed to qualify, and they've been able to help them. And that ranges between $1,200 on an account down to as low as $52. Average assistance is $461, and they've begun payment on 141 accounts. They still have accounts in review in their process. This sheet gives you an idea as of the 20th of what some of the utilities around us are doing in the state, both in the municipal environment and in the investor-owned environment. So there's a lot of municipals, as you can see in the left and the top right, that have resumed doing disconnects. Municipals are generally in a different position economically than the investor-owned, and they're a part of actually running city governments because of the large contributions that most, if not all, of the municipals make to their cities that they operate in. So you can see that they've got the dates there. If they were pending, Fort Pierce goes back September 5th to disconnecting. Tallahassee and Homestead are still pending, but you can see all the others with a yes associated with them. Down in the bottom right-hand corner, you see the investor-owned utilities. Duke has indicated they're going to resume disconnects on September 1. We don't yet have a date from FPL. They had indicated they were resuming, and then they put it on hold again. Gulf Power, no ETA, and TECO has resumed disconnects. It's our understanding from what we see in the press. So that completes the slides. And let me flip back to the meeting.
Commissioner Robinson?
I had a question about the water, $9,000 one individual residential unit. Have we made any contact with that property, or to allow that as a non-payment is one thing, to allow it as a waste or a problem is another.
I think Frank Bolito, the customer service manager, is on the line. If he's not, Franco, are you on the call tonight?
Yes, sir. Good evening.
Thanks,
I'll
Frank.
allow.
Excuse me, Madam Mayor, before we go any further with this, I really think you should take a motion and have a second so that any discussion it can be held between you and the commissioners, if it's okay.
Yeah, again, I don't have the agenda, so I don't have the backup with the motion.
Is this a motion to extend the shut off? What's the motion you're looking for, Debbie?
The motion is motion to approve or disapprove the resumption of city utility cutoffs for non-payment effective September 1st, 2020.
And then, I'm sorry, can I ask a
Please,
question?
go ahead. Yeah, go ahead.
about a conversation about not shutting off water. Is that after a motion, or is there, give me an amended motion or a subsidiary motion, or what are we talking here? Because I want a conversation about not shutting off water to people that have their electric shut off.
You can just make the motion, Commissioner Robinson, and we'll get a second so we can have discussion. And then we'll continue from there. Just an advisory, Commissioner Hardy, due to campaign election rules, you can't wear a campaign item from the dais. And I know that we're electronic, but you can't wear anything that has to do with the campaign while you're in City Hall nor on the dais. I had reminded you of that the last time, but it's not my rule. It's a campaign election rule.
Well, I'll have to violate the EO from the county because there are other people here in the room with me. So, okay,
Do you have another face mask?
I don't.
Okay, if someone's in staff can bring him another face mask, I'd appreciate it. Does anyone?
I'll take care of it.
Okay, thank you very much. I appreciate it. I had given you a warning the last time, so
So,
not new. Commissioner Robinson, go ahead.
well, I wanted to make a motion to at least not shut off water to anybody in Lake Worth Beach while at least an eviction moratorium from the governor is in existence.
Seconded.
Okay, so now we can talk. Okay, did you want to continue on? You want to continue on your thoughts, Commissioner Robinson?
Well, I don't know what the conversation or decision or vote will be on shutting off electricity, but water is a different source of life than electricity.
Okay.
And
Madam Mayor, Commissioner, if I may ask a clarification on the motion. Madam Mayor,
Yes.
can I
Commissioner-
ask a clarification on the motion?
The motion that he made was to, I guess it was, because he didn't mention electric. So I guess it was that he would, allow the electric to be turned off, but not water, to follow in suit with the eviction rules of the state of Florida. Is that correct, Commissioner Robinson?
then that was the question of where do I address not shutting off water? I'm okay with having a conversation about
Yeah.
the,
We can always make amendments or do whatever. That's fine.
I'll have to either withdraw my second or ask to make a friendly amendment.
Go ahead.
I'm not comfortable seconding a motion that would lead to resuming electric shutoffs. I am comfortable with the motion as was stated by Commissioner Robinson originally, which is that we would not do water shutoffs, which leaves the electric issue unaddressed and available to be addressed in a future motion. So if Commissioner Robinson is willing to just make his motion to contain it to water, I would second that motion, and we can address the electric issue in a subsequent motion.
that was my intent. That was
Okay.
my intent. If whatever the decision is on the electric,
That's fine. That's a fine. Christy, but can you do that based on what the motion is on the table? That's why I assumed what I did, because he left that out of the original motion. So
Right,
The
so,
motion.
so I understand the motion with the friendly amendment is to not do water shutoffs as long as the governor's eviction moratorium is in place.
no, I guess I want to clarify that the governor's eviction process is going to take, and the eviction process is going to take a much longer time than people will be vacating their property. And without water on that property is different than having electricity. I just want to make sure that while a person is in a domicile in Lake Worth Beach, we will provide them with water. is, I don't know, Christie, can you make it a little more clearer for everybody?
Right, and that's why I was
Debate.
asking, for clarification, because I think what you want to do is make sure that the water is not shut off at some date later to be determined.
Correct.
Is it okay, however, to not address the electric, since that was the suggested motion? That's the question I had for you, Christie.
I think what it sounds like from the intent of the motion and the second is that to address electric perhaps as a second motion vote, to treat these two utilities separately. Is that correct for the maker of the motion and the?
I'm good with that. I just want a decision that we do not shut off anybody living in Lake Worth Beach with access to water.
Madam Mayor,
Yes, Vice Mayor Pro Tem, I saw your hand.
I believe a friendly amendment requires a majority vote of the body to be accepted.
Point of order, or rather, point of information.
Yes, I'm going to ask Christie. Christie?
Yes, Madam Mayor, if before you take the vote, the person who made the motion is willing to amend it, they can do it friendly. I think what Commissioner Maxwell is bringing up is if they make it, there's a second, and then if another commissioner wants to amend it, then there needs to be a vote on the amendment. So the maker can do a friendly amendment with the person who seconds the original motion. So if Commissioner Robinson is okay with Commissioner Hardy's request for a friendly amendment, he can revise the motion, which sounds like it's now revised to be not to shut off water to anybody who's living in residence in Lake Worth Beach with a no date certain.
And is
Madam
that
Mayor,
correct?
why can't we just clean this up and come up with a straightforward motion instead of, going through all these gyrations?
Just trying to make sure that everybody understands my intent.
Matt,
Madam Mayor, I think you're muted.
If
Oops,
I couldn't it wouldn't unstick, sorry. Were you finished, Commissioner Maxwell?
I just think, if Commissioner Robinson wants to put a motion on the table that says, I move that we not disconnect water, then why can't we just make that a motion and make it that clean? I don't understand why we have to have a friendly amendment and do all this merry-go-round stuff.
Okay. Commissioner Hardy?
yeah, that's exactly what happened. Commissioner Robinson made a motion. I seconded it. I believe that Ms. Godot asked for clarification as to what the motion meant. And in the process of Commissioner Robinson clarifying it, I stated, well, if that's what it means, I can't second it, right? So I asked,
Madam Mayor.
excuse me,
Yes.
I asked,
I don't
hold on one second.
He's allowed a point of order and point of information, just like you.
Sure,
Yes.
okay.
Why is he restating everything? That's not his
Well,
position.
because well, Madam Mayor, may I answer?
Yes, go ahead.
Because it apparently isn't clear to Commissioner Maxwell that
Well, it's
the
very clear
motion
to
on
me,
the
Commissioner Hardy.
floor, the motion on the floor is a clean motion. The motion on the floor deals with water only, saying that we won't shut off people's water as long as they're living in a domicile. And it leaves electric unaddressed. That's the motion on the floor. That's the second. It's a clean motion.
Okay. Well, I'm going to suggest something now that we can talk about it, now that we've gone back and forth. I'm going to suggest something. I don't feel comfortable with turning. I think what we did the last time in reference to, holding off and contacting people or whatever, as long as the eviction thing's in it. I understand what Commissioner Robinson's saying, not only for water, but also for electric. But we can't, we need to. We see other people are moving. We're sure FP&L is going to move at some point as well. Can we do it through the 15th? When is our next meeting? Can we do it through the 15th or through this month of September and continue doing what we did at that point? And if we need to come back and change it, we can. Can we leave it open like that? I mean, I don't want to, people still haven't gotten another stimulus check, and people still haven't gotten, unemployment checks, and they're going to be behind a couple of weeks with employment checks because of, it was canceled and then it was kicked in by executive order or whatever the heck. People are not getting money. They've been waiting for money for a long time and they're not getting any money. And I don't think it's helping us. And I know that we are, a ticking time bomb too, because we're losing a lot of money. But at this point, it's kind of a catch-22 because, I know that we're doing this, but we also want to keep people in their homes too, as long as we can, get businesses back to work as soon as we can. And, let people start living their lives again. But I think I'd be comfortable with what we did the last time and follow it through with our neighbors and our peers. And we can leave the date open, or to the 15th perhaps of September, and then revisit it again. But right now, I think you'll see most of the municipals going back to connect, to shutoffs. You'll see other people teetering on the 5th and probably beyond. I think that we would be in a good sweet spot, I think, to the 15th, to give us an opportunity to revisit that. I would be comfortable with that. If you guys are. Commissioner Maxwell, you had your hand, I'm sorry.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. This is a truly sensitive situation. None of the 5 of us want to deprive anybody of electricity or water under these circumstances. The issue, though, that we're faced with is starting to really magnify. First of all, we're into the 6th month of this now of folks not, in some cases, not paying their bill. And we agreed a couple of months ago that we would ask folks to enter into agreements over a 12-month period for repayment. So simple math tells us, and I think there was a concern when we agreed to 12 months repayment, that would be too much of a burden to place on folks' bill going forward. Well, now we're at the 6-month mark. Adding a 12-month payment at this point essentially is a 50% increase of their utility bill for the next 12 months. So the longer we let this go on, the higher that number is going to get. And I think the other issue that we need to talk about tonight, which I think is really the root of this issue, and if I understand Ed Liberty's presentation properly, we have a net number of about 1,000 folks, 1,000 customers that have not raised the right hand, so to speak, and said, look, what can I do to make an arrangement or whatever. Now, golly, I hate to say this, but I think the city has really gone out of their way to reach out to folks through phone calls, door hangers, mail stuffers, all these different things that we've done. And we still have 1,000 folks out there that for whatever reason have opted not to work with us, in a two-way partnership or collaborative type of method. So I guess what I'm trying to say is what we're looking for is an opportunity for our residents to maintain their service, but at the same time, position them to repay at some point. But if these 1,000 customers are not going to cooperate and not going to come back to us and say, look, this is what I can do, this is what I can't do. Okay, then we just can't keep kicking this can down the road. I think that's a real concern. And I know that sounds harsh and cruel. And I don't mean it to sound that way, but as Ed's presentation showed, virtually all of the other municipal entities are going back to disconnects. And yeah, we like to think we're special here in Lake Worth, and we are special. But I think we really need to have a conversation about not so much about when do we start the disconnects, but what are we going to do to get these 1,000 customers to step up and self-identify or whatever the term is to make an arrangement. I think that's really the bigger issue here.
Okay, Commissioner Robinson.
My point isn't about electricity. The point is specifically about water, the separation of water and electric. We haven't had the conversation about electric. I think, and I hope everybody understands that my concern is having somebody living, waiting for an eviction process to take place with no electricity, but the ability for us to serve them water, to be clean and sanitary. Let's keep this motion conversation to that question. We understand about the finances of people's dilemma now, but the question was purely about water. The motion was about water. The decision is about keeping water on if they're living, whether they're being evicted or not, to have water. The eviction process is going to take a long time, I'm afraid. But can we just make a decision on whether we want to provide water regardless of whether they owe electricity or not?
The water through the eviction period.
No.
Or what?
Yes, until they are absolutely evicted from the process, not the eviction process, the absence of them living in the house.
In the house, okay. Vice Mayor Pro Tem?
Madam Mayor, Commissioner Robinson clearly doesn't understand the context of my previous my comments.
It was about electric.
No, it's not.
One at a time, please.
It's about the 1,000 customers who have not stepped up and made arrangements to pay their utility bill. That's what we're talking about. And that includes their water and it includes their electric. We're not going to bifurcate it and make it sound like they're two separate issues. The issue is, as I said,
Yes, we are.
the issue is 1,000 people have refused to step up and work with the city and make an arrangement. That's the issue.
Okay. Who's got their hand up? Commissioner Robinson? I saw your lips moving.
He was muted. He is muted.
You're muted. You're muted.
Oh, there we go. So it is, I thought it was a simple decision to what you said, bifurcate the utilities. There's a difference. And we should be able to have enough compassion, humanity,
Point of order.
recognition of the need for water,
Point of order.
and
Madam Mayor.
the process of evictions
Okay.
that is a longer period of time than just flipping the switch on the electric.
Okay. Commissioner Hardy? You're muted.
I'm
sir.
interested in hearing Commissioner Maxwell's point of order.
You had your hand up before that, but okay. Commissioner Maxwell?
You know, I take exception to anybody suggesting that any of us up here does not have compassion. And
Okay,
that's exactly what Commissioner Robinson just inferred.
Okay. all right. Well,
Okay, we're not going to go there. Okay,
Well,
we're not going to play this out.
let's decide to be water on
We're
that.
not- No. We're going to do this the way it's supposed to be done, and we're not
point
going
of
to.
order, point of order.
Point of order. I'm not done talking. I'm not finished speaking here.
Excuse me,
We had a really nice meeting last week and everyone was civil and it
I
was
just-
really
I
well
just-
run.
yeah, but I just, made an interruptible motion, which is a point of order, in the same way that he interrupted me with his point of inquiry earlier.
Childish, guys, childish.
Okay, so my point of order is, and, I just want to be really clear about this. Point of order is not to be used when someone says something you dislike.
Madam Mayor, I do
No.
not want to be lectured
I
by
know.
another commissioner on Robert's rules.
So,
First of all,
yeah,
I'm the one who decides what it is. First of all, the point of order is when anyone speaks outside of the agenda, outside of the item, makes
That's
derogatory comments towards anybody or
Right.
disobeys the rule. Yes.
derogatory as defined by saying that a policy isn't compassionate.
They didn't say compassionate. They mentioned people, which was if any person sitting up here who doesn't feel can't be compassionate to the cause or whatever, it referred to the people sitting up here. And I'm not going to go back and forth really, because I made my statement about what I thought. So, guys, let's work together. That's what we're supposed to do up here. We're not supposed to yell at each other and play games. We're not
Right.
children. Commissioner
Well-
Hardy, please.
Yes, what I'll say is, that was my first point of order of the evening. So if we're talking about playing games or being uncivil, there were some point of orders and point of inquiries, before I said anything.
First
Here's
time.
what I have to say about this water issue. We should not, at this time, which is an extraordinary time, turn off people's water and make their homes uninhabitable, which is what a home without water is. It's not habitable under the building code. Because I think we can all recognize that these times are extraordinary. And it's been said by Commissioner Maxwell that really this is about 1,000 people who have not, in his words, stepped up and come to the city to make arrangements to pay their past due bill, arrangements that would start immediately. And if folks were flush with money, I might think that Commissioner Maxwell had a point. But the unemployment rate in Palm Beach County is nearly 14.
Point of order.
Excuse me.
Your point of order is, Commissioner Maxwell?
We don't need statistics on unemployment or his hypothesis. of whether people-
It's certainly relevant to the question of whether the
Excuse me.
1,000 people have the
Excuse
money to
me.
pay.
You're
So
suggesting that the 1,000 people don't have the money. How do you know
Excuse
that?
me.
You
Excuse
don't
me.
know because they haven't
Okay.
come to us.
Madam
right.
Mayor, Madam Mayor, this is precisely what I'm talking about. In that moment, I didn't breach decorum. I didn't make a comment that was not germane to the discussion. And yet I was point of order because Commissioner Maxwell felt that I was making a weak argument. That's not what point of order is for. If he believes that my argument has weaknesses, he may well point them out.
No,
But point of order is for when it's not germane and when it doesn't, when it's not within our decorum.
Well, first of all, Commissioner Hardy, you don't get a medal because for one meeting and 10 minutes in, you managed to follow the rules. You don't get a gold medal for that, okay? You get a gold medal for every meeting that you're at when you follow the rules. And you know how I'm about the rules, so we don't have to say that. You don't get a gold medal for 10 minutes of following the rules. Done. Can you guys please be civil and can we move on with this?
Yeah.
Because this is necessary and we don't need to debate point of orders. Just make your comments known on what you'd like to do and let's move on.
I was trying to make my point and I was interrupted by a point of order. Now, if you believe that
Please
folks
make
should
your-
be able to,
please make-
excuse me.
Please make your point.
Okay,
Thank you.
thank you. And I hope I can make it without a point of order that doesn't make sense. As I was saying, Commissioner Maxwell believes that we have to move forward with shutoffs because this is not, in his
Point of
mind,
order.
I am,
And your point of order, sir?
He suggested he knows why my rationale or motive. for
I
having this conversation.
am restating his rationale.
I didn't say we need to cut them off.
Excuse, you are saying that we should, you are arguing against, excuse me. Commissioner Maxwell is arguing against a motion to continue a moratorium on water shutoffs. One cannot argue against said motion without the implication, which is that shutoffs should resume.
But
It's-
implications are like assumptions, and you know what
No,
happens?
Madam, they're not like assumptions.
Yes, they are.
Uh,
Yours is in that case, it is.
No, so you're saying that I can argue against going to the movies while being for going to the movies?
You probably could.
Oh, yeah.
Okay, well, if we're gonna descend to this level of casuistry and sophistry, then go ahead. Commissioner Maxwell made a point, which I took to mean that one of the reasons why he can't support this motion to continue with the
I
suspension of
didn't say that.
oh my gosh. Commissioner Maxwell, there's a motion on the floor. Madam Clerk, what's the motion on the floor?
Madam Clerk, would you answer me? Because I'm the one who actually directs people in these meetings, not the other members of the board. Thank you, though.
There's a motion on the floor not to shut off water while a person is in a domicile in Lake Worth Beach and went on to say we will provide water.
May I ask Commissioner Maxwell, if he is in support of this motion?
No,
I
you
will ask Commissioner Maxwell if he's in support of this motion, okay? Because we don't go back and forth between commissioners. Thank you. Commissioner Maxwell, would you like to answer that question?
No, I don't. I'm not obligated to answer that question till we take a vote.
Right.
Since when is playing the devil's advocate or pointing out the context or the other alternatives that we have to consider here, an automatic inference that I don't support the motion?
Well,
Okay.
because there'll be a snippet of video that'll come out on the
Oh,
internet.
that's right. It's all about viral
US.
videos.
Racist, yeah, I'm sure.
So it,
Thank you very much.
Okay,
let's
well,
move on-
you know what?
let's
I
move
will,
on to the Vice
Madam Mayor,
Yes.
I'll just continue to make my point. My point is,